Welcome to Heart to Talk, the podcast. I am the host and creator, Theresa Caesar. My intention for this podcast is to deliver to you wisdom, inspiration, and consciousness through solo episodes and conversations amongst insightful people. It is my greatest honor to bring to you talks that come from the heart. Welcome back to the podcast, Amazing Souls. Today's episode is extra special because we're joined by someone who is not only doing impactful work in the world, but someone I'm honored to call a friend. Jimmy Hart, he's back on the podcast to share his newest book, Legacy in the Making, Men's Stories That Shape Young Men, Volume 1, a powerful collection that speaks directly to the experiences, growth, and defining moments that shape young men into who they become. Jimmy Hart is the CEO of Hart Global Industries, where he helps schools and organizations build stronger, more connected communities through his RAI framework: respect, affirmation, and inclusion. With over 30 years in education as a teacher, coach, principal, and district leader, his work has transformed the lives of thousands. He's also a #1 Amazon bestseller author, a globally recognized speaker, and was ranked the #1 Disrupt HR speaker in the world. But beyond all the titles, what makes Jimmy's work so powerful is his heart. His ability to connect, inspire, and remind us that real impact always starts with human connection and kindness. Friends, I am so excited to bring to you this conversation with Jimmy Hart. Let's get started. Welcome back to Heart to Talk.
I'm excited to be here. Thank you for the invite.
It's just such an honor. I was just thinking back. Gosh, it's been a couple years since you've been on the show. You've been on twice, and it
Great.
was to promote your books. And here we are. We're going to talk about your fourth book today.
Yes.
But tell us what you've been up to since you've been on the show last.
Had a lot of fun. Let's see. Retired from a school district. Decided to go back and work in another school district. Continue to publish. I've had some keynote opportunities. So really moving into the keynote space. Still publishing, having fun publishing. And then this last book, Legacy in the Making, Men's Stories That Shape Young Men. We were able to hit #1 on Amazon. So that was really exciting to do that and give out about 100 copies to young men back in April to celebrate them. Enjoying life. Kids are getting older. Son finished his MBA. Daughter is going into her senior year. So life is good.
That is incredible. Well, congratulations
Thank you.
on your kids' success, your family, and your personal success. And for those who don't know you, could you tell them a little bit about your business and your keynote speaking and all of that? And then we're going to dive into this book, which I'm so excited.
Appreciate that. Yeah. So I enjoy training. I'm a long-time educator, teacher by trade, been in education 30 plus years. Back in 2020, decided to start a business, Hart Global Industries, to focus on leadership development, climate and culture work. That's a big part of what I do. So within that work, we have an acronym called ACTS, and the A stands for authorship. So we publish books, we help others write books, coach, providing coaching services, training, which is the thing I really love, and then speaking, keynote speaking. So that's ACTS. That's the core of the work that I do. Hart Global Industries, our work is focused in climate and culture work. That's the primary focus of our work. And we've had some great opportunities just here locally in the Tucson area. We've done work with had a number of sessions we've done with City of Tucson. We just recently completed their supervisor training series. So I got the chance to participate and train and engage with about 500 of the supervisors in the City of Tucson. We've done some work with Tucson Unified School District. And then we continue our work with Tanque Verde Unified School District, who adopted our work. And then there's other opportunities that come here and there, keynote speaking, Arizona School Counselors Association. So really just having fun, enjoying life. And I've had so many people give and sow into me. This is my opportunity at this point in my life, past 30 years in the field of education, to give back and to sow into other people.
Yes, thank you for that. I'm just so grateful that you're my friend. I'm so grateful that our paths crossed. So just to give
Yes,
this
as am I.
audience
Yes,
some context. So back when I
yes,
worked in Tucson Unified, I want to say reassigned. It wasn't even my normal office and location, but you know what? The universe has a plan way better than your
yes,
own, and you are placed along your journey to meet the right people. And if you are, you know, paying attention, you realize how many people along the way who you're meant to,
attention.
connect with. And we stayed in touch. Do you
Definitely.
remember that, Jimmy, when I popped into your where
Yes,
your office was?
and you know what? You're the same person today as you were then, just full of positive energy, full of affirmations, made the room brighter, and so I took note of that. I was like, "Wow, we need this type of energy, all of us, every day of our life." So, that stood out front and center to me, and you're still the same today. It's
Oh.
who you are.
Well, I love that we continued our friendship and just support because we both
Yes.
share the
Yep.
entrepreneurship journey, building our
Building,
platforms
yep,
with just our voice, right? Like you
yes.
speak, I do
Building
the
from scratch.
podcasting and hosting. Yeah. And so here we are, and 4 books in, guys. 4 books. For all you all listeners, I love, as you know, because I have a podcast, so you listen. I love audiobooks, but if there's one person's book that I'm gonna read front to back or cover to cover, it is Jimmy Hart's books.
I
You,
appreciate that.
like, lay them out so perfectly. It's such a, like, rich, easy read with
Yes, that's
takeaways,
true. Uh-huh.
and, I mean, we have the championship mentality, timeless principles for student athletes. We have 9 leadership habits to empower teams,
That was my
and
very
then the
first book.
3rd book, what was the other book? I don't have it.
Well,
Where did it go?
Equipped to Serve.
Yes, and then today we're gonna highlight legacy in the making. This book, Jimmy, wow. Okay, walk us through the book, the inspiration. I know that you highlight, was it 12 incredible men?
Yeah, 12 men, 12
Okay.
men local here within our community, 2 from out of state, but all men who participated over the years in our Young Men's Leadership Symposium. So we host a Young Men's Leadership Symposium every year. We give out scholarships, partnership with Pima College. We do some career readiness and career awareness. We connect them with mentors. And so this book was is the next step in that process. So our foundation outside of the Hart Global Industries, I have a team member, Aaron Scott, where we're co-leaders in founding Strengthening Community Foundation, and it's geared toward young men. And the reason we developed the foundation around young men is because here, just within Pima County and all over the United States, there's a lot of challenges around young men. And so with this book, we wanted to find a way to really give back to the men who continue to give back to the symposium. We have men who come every year, give their time, they donate, they speak without charging. And so we said, you know what, let's do a book. And so, as when you have been talking about you writing your book, I'm big on all of us having an opportunity to tell our own stories and to put it in writing where it's forever until Amazon and print goes away. It's there forever. It's there for your family. It's there for your friends. It's there for your grandkids, great grandkids, and so on. And so we wanted to honor these men, dynamic men within our community and in 2 other states here in the United States, Texas and Seattle, Washington area. We just wanted to honor them for their giving to the youth. And what really got us here is last year we had a question at one of our symposiums. One of the young men said, "Well, I was up talking and introducing the next speaker, and one of the boys, the teenagers, said, 'Well, what do you do? I want to know your story.' And so that I want to know your story stood out. And then Aaron, my co-founder, he said, 'You know what? Let's put together a book. Let's write a book about men for young men.' And the cool thing about the book, we purposely wrote it in a way where it's not a whole lot of big paragraphs. There's a whole lot of one and two-line sentences by design because we know a lot of times boys don't like to read books. It's just too boring. So we wrote it in a way where it's easy reading. They can get through a chapter. There's questions at the back. And each of the men are all different. And so I keep saying one of the things, but one of the big things about Strengthening Community Foundation is we wanted to do things that were multi-generational and multi-ethnicity. And that was a big part of our purpose because we can't build community if we continue to do things in isolation. And so the book is about 12 different men, spanning at least 3 different generations, from no college degree to doctor degrees to VPs of Fortune 100 companies to I'm just trying to figure out life out right now to I have kids, I haven't had kids. I've been to jail. I've been shot at. So there's all these stories in the book, and the way we asked the men to write their story is we wanted them to tell the boys the truth, not the finished product. Because that was
Mhm.
why the young man asked me the question at the symposium last year. He said, "Well, what's your story?" He saw what he thought was a finished product. Nowhere near finished, but in his mind, it was a finished product. So we asked the men to write the truth, write about the challenges, write about things that they had to overcome. We can't help the young men if they don't see, read, and understand and talk about, hey, we have these same challenges. This is how we got through it. So it's about sharing some challenges, sharing your childhood. How'd you get through it? What was the outcome? So that's the whole basis of the book. 12 men telling their stories about situations they had to deal with. One of the people in the book is he's a local principal here in TUSD. He's at Sabino High School. And if you look at him and then you read his story, the two don't go together. And for his students, all they see is a finished product. But if they read his story about the things he went through, it's totally contrary to what you would assume about him as a high school principal. So that's the whole purpose of the book. And then our goal is to create a legacy volume. So next year we'll have a volume 2. There'll be a whole nother set of 12 men. And so we want to do this for at least 10 years, where we've got 120 men's stories in books available for young men to go back and read and say, and hopefully find someone that they've experienced something similar and they can learn from that person's walk, and make some different decisions about their life.
It is so inspiring. And I love the opening quote by Frederick Douglass. It is
Yes.
easier to build strong children than to repair broken men. So, that being said, when a young man reads this, what do you hope activates within him?
I mean, you literally said it. Hope. That's what we hope activates
Mhm.
in every young man when they read this, and quite frankly, every man that's over 18 that reads this, because the other piece we don't talk about is all the challenges that men experience and go through. Learning how to be a parent, learning how to be a father, learning how to navigate family, and not just focusing on self. And a lot of times men don't have conversations, men don't talk about their challenges. So we're also hopeful that men will, pick up the book by happenstance or picking up the book for a young man and they happen to read a chapter or two and reflect on how it can impact their life. But you said it, the number one word is hope. This book was written, the Strengthening Community Foundation, the symposium, the book is all about hope. Because if we have hope, we can go the next day. We can keep,
Mm.
if we have hope, we know there's like a tomorrow. There's still opportunity. It's not over yet. And so that was the whole purpose of the book is hope.
I love that. And I love that you mentioned truth because anyone like you could see you, see me and think, oh, but
Yes.
man, most of us would have so much more in common of the hard things, and
Yes.
that's the difference between someone hearing your story and mine or one of the men in this book, volume 1, that will give them, like you said, the hope and realize, "Oh, if they can do it, I can do it."
Yes. Real talk. Real talk. I even get a little bit transparent with some of my experiences.
Bless.
And I know who my biological father was until I was, never meeting him until I was 40. I was told about him when I was 12. Didn't believe it because I grew up with a father. I was fortunate to grow up with a father. Not meeting him till I was 40 years old and all that comes with that. And then my biological father coming and being a keynote speaker at one of our parent events years back and bringing me up on stage and bringing my father who raised me up on stage and telling the audience that he did what I couldn't do, So just exposing myself in the book as well. Life isn't perfect for all of us. We all have challenges. We all have questions about why. Um, but yeah, that's the whole purpose of the book to give hope.
I
Not,
love it. So,
yeah.
anyone like, I love that you mentioned it's not just for the young readers, but any man over 18 would probably resonate. This would
Yes.
be a great Father's Day gift or a
Great,
gift,
great
or
Father's Day gift.
yeah.
Great
It
Father's
could
Day gift.
it could be a son
Yeah,
in a son and father, even mother, everyone, the whole family could be a
Yes,
good book club book. I love nonfiction. I love true
certainly.
stories of
Yep.
people. And that's why I have this podcast because it's like, it doesn't get better than hearing people's true stories, is, to get inspired.
Yes, I've had, there've been, wives who got the copy of the book, wanted to share with their husband, so their husband could read it to navigate through some of their past experiences with, not growing up with a father or some of the challenges that they've encountered. But definitely, it's a really good book. It's from the heart of the men who wrote it. When we asked them to write, with writing a book, it could be scary. It could be feel like a really large task. Like, I don't know if I can do this. And they were just writing one chapter. And you're talking about men, outside of the gentleman who's a doctorate who just aren't used to writing all the time. And we said, pour out your heart. That's all we need. Just tell us from your
Ooh.
heart. That's what's going to resonate with the young man. We've spent too many years showing the polished version or telling the polished version. Let's get to the heart and the truth of how we overcame so these young men can do the same.
Ooh, I love it. And thank God you're my friend because you're gonna help me with my book.
Yeah, I am.
I'm writing it, and if it
Hey,
wasn't for you, who knows if it would ever get done. That's the power of
it's gonna
having
get done.
amazing friends that hold
Yes,
you accountable, right, and help you to, like,
yes,
reach higher, so I'm
yes.
grateful for you.
As am I. Grateful for you, Theresa.
And so those listening who are like, "Okay, I'm gonna, 1, get the book because I'm inspired, and 2, they wanna write their story." How do you help with that?
So if someone reaches out or if I have a conversation with someone, like there's a gentleman I went to elementary school with. He was at an event I was at last week. And he's like, "No, I've got a book I wanna write." I'm like, "Okay, let's get together. Let's work together and let's get this book published." But yes, I'm on LinkedIn. You can find me on LinkedIn. I'm always open to receiving text messages from people, just putting the message what you're texting me about. So, my number, 520-247-9963. Text, say, "Hey, look, I'm interested in publishing. How do I do this?" And we could talk about what that looks like. Um, I do have a fee, a very, very, very low fee for that right now, because for me, it's really about helping people get their stories out. The financial side of that I know will come down the line. The biggest piece for me is helping people put their stories out. So one of my moms, a lady from the church, she reached out. She didn't know how to publish. She didn't know where to start. So I'm helping her publish her book.
That's incredible,
Yeah,
and I'll definitely put, like, your information in the show notes,
yes.
as well as the links to all your books. You can get them on Amazon. And so, Jimmy, what is your mission?
I have a few different missions, but my primary mission is to spread the Ray framework, the respect, affirm, include. That's my primary mission. How do we become more respectful? How do we become more affirming? And I love all your work. Everything you do is like I just love it. Can't get enough of it.
Oh,
And how do we practice being more inclusive of others? And I believe those three words show up in all that I do. So with the Strengthening Community Foundation and the symposium, the multicultural focus on the book, the different generations, the different demographics. So being inclusive. So that's my primary mission is to spread the Ray framework to as many people in our society, in our world, in our city, to practice living out those three words every day. Prior to the coming onto your podcast, I met with the superintendent of Tanka Birdie. We just had lunch and we talked about the Ray framework, which is a part of their school district. It's all a part of their mission, their vision, and one of their guiding principles. And so we talked about how do we extend Ray? So one of the things we're discussing is creating a follow-up workshop for teachers. How do you apply Ray to yourself? A lot of times, if it's not labeled as self-help, it's for like someone else outside of
yeah.
us. But with Ray, we spend a lot of time with how do we live that out in our school systems. So our next step is talking about how do we live out Ray for ourselves? What does respecting myself look like? What does affirming myself look like? What has been inclusive of myself? How am I including myself in the goals I have for my future? How am I including myself in keeping myself healthy, keeping my mentality strong, having a healthy mindset? So that's my primary mission right now is spreading the Ray framework, respect, affirm, include.
I love it. And we have the second thing, we talked about it in the episode, the symposium. Can you tell everyone a little bit about that?
Yes.
Yeah,
So the symposium, that is the Strengthening Community Young Men's Leadership Symposium. We do that every year, every April. We bring in dynamic speakers. Some are fairly famous. individuals. We had someone playing the Super Bowl come speak one year. Local young man spoke to us last year, Levi Wallace, Tucson High, who gives a lot back to the Tucson community. And it's all designed, the symposium is designed for young men to just be free and be themselves. They don't have to show out. They don't have to be tough. They don't have to be cool. They can come dressed up or they can come dressed down. They don't have to fake their conversations. And we do a lot of training we do training with the men who serve as mentors before the event. Because with men, we like to solve the boys' life story in like 5 minutes, and you just can't
Yeah,
do that. So we train the men in some strategies on how to listen, how to not project themselves, how to affirm. There goes that affirm word again.
I love
How
it.
to
Mhm.
affirm, and just be quiet to give the young boys, the young men, the space to talk. We have it every year. Past few years, we've had it at Pima College, but it's every April. It's going to be April 17th, I believe, April 17th, 2027. That's a Saturday. This will be year 5. It'll be bigger and better. We were given a proclamation by Pima County, so we were excited about that, that they were willing to acknowledge and honor the work that we're doing. The symposium is for any young man ages grade 7 through 12, grade 7 through 12. So next year we're hoping for 200 young men at the event, and who knows what will happen after that. We are going to expand. Probably we're looking at going to Seattle next year as well because
Wow.
our co-founders in Seattle now. So we've already got the keynote speaker lined up. So we're looking at some facility. We're looking at expanding to Phoenix. We'll figure out if we can do it in 27 or if we got to go to 28. Um, but that's a big part of who we are as Strength and Community Foundation. And that carries over into my work with Hart Global Industries, the RAID framework. Because if we can help our young men be respectful, be affirming, understand what inclusiveness looks like, we'll reduce a whole lot of crime. We'll improve a whole lot of good stuff like graduation rates, career opportunities, just good people. Just living in a world where more of the masses are good people and kind and being respectful to everyone that they encounter. So that's the whole purpose of the Strength and Community Young Men's Leadership Symposium.
Is it free for these young men to attend?
Oh yes, the
Okay,
symposium is free for the young men, no
okay.
charge. We cover the cost our first 2 years out of pocket. As we've grown, we've gotten partners. For example, Tucson Juneteenth partnered with us. Uh,
Nice.
Boys to Men Tucson partner
Yeah.
with us. Um, Few other organizations, well, definitely Pima Community College partner with us. Pima Community College Foundation partner with us. So we continue to grow in our partners. Chick-fil-A this year off of Broadway at Elcon sponsored breakfast for us. Then there's some individuals who did a lot of behind the scenes work for us. One in particular, her name Jorge Ruiz. I believe in giving
Mm.
people credit,
Yeah.
for what they do. I can't like take credit for everything that has happened. So I do believe it's important to like acknowledge those people who have made our work easier and help impact the young men along the way.
Yeah, that's incredible. I love our community. So many people willing to, like, help out and
Yes.
work together, and I'm so proud of you. Year 5 coming up.
Year 5, Strength and Community Young Men's Leadership Symposium.
Awesome.
Volume
Well,
2
this
of the book.
and then volume 2 of the book, that is seriously this is so exciting. So before we pivot to the ending questions, is there any tips
Yeah.
for the listeners?
Yes. So, one, just take time to live out those 3 words for yourself. I think the more we do that, sometimes we forget about ourselves. We forget about ourselves a lot, quite
Yeah.
frankly. And for the educators listening, we're so focused during the school year on the students, on others. We got to remember to take care of ourselves, to respect ourselves, to affirm ourselves on a daily basis. Take Theresa's classes. That's tip number 2. It's all about affirmations. It's real. It works. We finished coming off the NBA championship. There's a reason you see the guys whispering to themselves before they shoot a free throw, or they're closing their eyes. They're doing lots of affirmations. They're reminding themselves of how good they are, how great they are. They missed one shot, they come back, they make the next shot. So tap into all the affirmations you can. That's tip number 2. And then tip number 3, you never lose being kind. That's something my father taught me. I have a big poster. If you were to go to my office at school, I have a big poster of my father, and the words are even bigger. Say, "You never lose being kind," because we don't lose being kind.
Mm, I love it. So inspiring, so powerful. Great tips. Love them, love them. Okay, so per tradition, I'm gonna wrap up with some questions for you. The first one, what is your favorite affirmation or mantra that keeps you motivated?
No, the number one is I am empowered.
Ooh.
I'm empowered, and so, the book I have, Equipped to Serve, Empower People, Empower Others. If I can remind myself I'm empowered every day, I don't it takes away me making lots of excuses and having a long time pity party for myself. Sometimes you can have one for a few minutes or a day, depending on the circumstance, but we all are empowered. We have the ability to do more, to make an impact as long as we are in our right mind. We are pretty whole in terms of our body, our mind. We can get a lot done. So I am empowered.
I love it. What is your favorite book?
My favorite book is the one I've read the most over the years, and it's the Bible. That's my favorite book.
Oh,
So when I thought about that, I was like, okay, this is the book I always read,
I
you
love
know?
that.
And I make a choice to pick it up. Sometimes I don't pick it up. Sometimes more time goes by than I want. But I always go back to that book. If there's any book I'm gonna go to, it's gonna be that book that I go to.
So good. Love it. And what inspires you in your work?
My biggest inspiration are my 2 children. They inspire me the most. And a lot of what I've done, even when I worked in TUSD, was a result of them, whether it was something that I wanted them to have, and then I felt it was important for other students to have the same opportunity, or was something that they had that other students didn't have the opportunity to have. So they're my biggest inspiration, and they're pretty transparent. So they always keep me grounded, keep me honest. And my daughter's always going to tell me the truth. So she makes me reflect on my thinking the most. And the reason I say they're my biggest inspiration and they've impacted like how I do my work. For example, my kids, they had the opportunity to participate in a leadership conference where they stayed on college campuses every summer. Then I thought about the kids in school systems who don't get that opportunity. So
Mhm.
what did we have the opportunity to do? We created a program where it was called Lit at the time, where over about 5, 6 years, we took kids from the school district to University of Arizona. They got to live on the college campus. Or my son, when he needed tutoring in a calculus class, I was able to pay for the tutoring. And then I thought about all the kids in the school district who aren't able to pay for the tutoring. So we came with a partnership with University of Arizona math department, and we were to give access to free tutoring virtual. So they're my biggest motivation and my biggest inspiration. With that, also men in my family, my dad that raised me, he's my inspiration. Clifton Talbert, who allowed me to carry on his work, he's my inspiration. So those are a few people who really inspire me, and then there's some educators out there and some keynote speakers who I want to be like that I put on my I literally have a I have a what do you call it? Vision board. I had
Yeah. Yeah.
so I actually have a vision board. You'd be proud of me. I have
Yes.
about 50 affirmations.
Love it.
I did that recently. But yeah, so the biggest inspiration, my kids, my dad, Clifton Talbert.
I love it. Okay, I'm gonna ask you one last question. So I know that you are a legacy in the making as well, and I know that you're proud of your kids. But
Yes,
what are you most proud of when it comes to yourself?
most proud of when it comes to myself. Most proud of when it comes to myself, constantly grinding, willing to grind, constantly pursuing this vision I have for myself, the type of life I want, the type of impact I want. Because it can get easy to give up, to go back to the status quo, to stay in the status quo, or feel like, you know what, this is it, this is just what it's going to be. But that's the piece I'm most proud of myself, knowing that there's always more, that hope word. There's always
Mm,
more, and that's the piece I've been working on the recent.
mm,
It's easy for me to do it for everyone else, for other people, but I realize I can't impact the type of masses I wanna impact if I don't, like, put myself front and center and focus on my vision. I have to do that. And it's not selfish, and we don't always
Mm,
have that conversation.
yeah. That's why I wanted you to highlight yourself. And look what you've brought to life. The legacy of a book, your
Yes.
children,
Yes.
all the things that will continue to live on
Continue to live on.
is a legacy in the making.
Legacy in the making. I am a legacy in the making.
Thank you so much for tuning into this episode. Please download, rate, subscribe, and share this podcast. I also want to let you know that I'm officially entering summer break, but don't worry, I'll be back with episode 141 on August 8th.